This podcast is sponsored by Release Winery. Every wine tells a story. Each growing season, it's our goal to create an artisan Napa Valley wine of exceptional quality. Join us as the story of this ultra-limited wine continues. Learn more at releasewinery.com.
I'm the event and international press manager of the Chianti Wine Consortium, comparing different Chianti wines, specifically Chianti Riserva wines. So 7 of them from 7 of the different sub-regions of the Chianti. Frankly speaking, we don't know exactly the origin of the name Chianti. We have different versions, including maybe the most famous one, which remonts to Clantis, a place where there's some water, Ager Clantis. So one of the most famous, but actually it's not possible to say that Chianti belongs to this or this other word. It's something like fantasy name, maybe, unknown name. Between the Italians one, the most renowned probably is Chianti. Actually, Chianti has been the first one to be exported during the centuries, so it helped a lot to export the brand Chianti. Plus, we have a very special synergy in between wine, territory, cities, art, food. So this helped a lot the brand Chianti to be renowned. When you think about Chianti, you don't only think about the wine, but you think about the hills, the cypress, the food, art. So it's not just an appellation, it's more than an appellation, considering the name. Yeah, we have to talk about the differences nowadays. Nowadays we can say that we have 2 different appellations, Chianti, the OCG, and Chianti Classico, the OCG. Where is the difference? First, territories. Chianti, the OCG, is a larger area that includes 7 different sub-regions. It's roughly around 15,500 hectares cultivated and registered by the trademark Chianti. Chianti Classico is a smaller region, smaller production area, not region, which actually is inside the Chianti and is roughly the half of the size of the Chianti. Technically speaking, we have some differences, considering, for instance, what we consider Chianti and what they consider Chianti Classico. Both of them are made with Sangiovese grape, which is the prince of the Tuscan grapes for sure. In our appellation has to be minimum made with 70% of Sangiovese in the generical Chianti. In the Chianti Classico has to be minimum, if I'm not wrong, 80%, so a little bit more higher. And another curiosity, for instance, in our blends can be made with still can be made with the white grape varieties like Trebbiano and Malvasia until 10%. It's not usual nowadays, but it's still possible to do it. It's not anymore possible in Chianti Classico. Chianti has the normal vintage that can go out in the market after 6 months. Then we have some sub-regions that can go out in the market in June of the following year or in September, like for the Chianti Classico normal vintage. We have another kind of Chianti that Chianti Classico don't have, which is Chianti Superiore, that has to be age minimum 1 year and has a lower production per hectare and a little bit more alcohol content. Yeah, a little bit more. And both we have Chianti and Chianti Classico Riserva. In both cases have to be age minimum 2 years. They now have also Chianti Gran Selezione, Chianti Classico Gran Selezione, which we don't have. I mean, we don't officially have, because we have some producers that already done some job pretty similar to what is Chianti Classico Gran Selezione, but we don't have the labeling of Chianti Gran Selezione. We have to divide it. That Sangiovese is the grape which Chianti is made. Chianti is a blend, can be a blend made mainly with Sangiovese grape. So exists also a category which is not a DOC or DOCG, which is called IGT, Indicazione Geografica Tipica, which can be made with Sangiovese grape, but it's not a Chianti or a Chianti Classico. If you buy a Chianti or a Chianti Classico, I would say that you have to search for a style. Can be 100% Sangiovese, depends to the producer or the style of the territory. Can be a blend. I think that the consumer has to be focused about the use of the wine, not just the provenience of the wine. Because nowadays, the vinification methods, the aging process, the growing system are changed a lot, considering and comparing to the last 20 years. So it's not that standard, the quality of the wine. We can talk about standard style, of course, but the quality and the variety can be different. If I'm going to taste 100% Sangiovese from Chianti Rufina, I would know for sure that probably would be a very elegant wine with a stronger acidity, not too much body, and that probably I can forget in my cellar for several years. This is roughly the Rufina DNA, but we also have different style like Chianti Colli Senesi, which can be ready a little bit earlier, but normally has a different palate, a little bit more rounder. It tastes more dark fruits, and Chianti Rufina is more about red fruits, small fruits, very thin differences, but very important for us because represent our diversity. So I would say if I was a consumer, and I am a consumer, I would select one by one just to taste the diversity. Yeah, Sangiovese is just can be a Chianti and can't be a Chianti if it's outside the territory. It includes the production per hectare, has to be ruled. It includes the controls in the fields. It includes the control after you put in the markets. That means what it's worth, the labeling and the DOCG appellation.
This podcast is sponsored by Release Winery. Every wine tells a story. Each growing season, it's our goal to create an artisan Napa Valley wine of exceptional quality. Join us as the story of this ultra-limited wine continues. Learn more at releasewinery.com.